officials. In as much as the FCT minister actually represent the president in civil administration. But that cannot be said about military command. You know, the power does not extend to the military at all. There are ways to handle issue. I don't know the reason why government want to possibly investigate abandoned property, but definitely there are many abandoned government properties.
Exactly, there are many.
Some persons are, most people have already claimed those properties. If you go to Lagos, there's one area of Lagos and several buildings, government started the project, and along the line they abandoned it, and individuals are making use of it. And some people are even collecting rent.
Collecting rent.
Yes.
but I keep asking this question: why must our government just be docile? You know, waiting for, I don't know what they are waiting for. Government should be a continuity. It continues from where the predecessors
Our own government is not continuity. When new government comes in, most of the projects, that's why most of
because if not, so there wouldn't be any abandoned project. You should know what the other person left and follow from the
when
start
new government
from there.
comes in, they will write off most projects and say that this project is not feasible, we cannot continue with it. Or maybe they wouldn't want to continue because if they feel that someone else has taken the glory for it. So new government taking over now, even if you complete it, people will now say, yes, it's the other government that started it. So they want to start a fresh project. So you now see, what was the result? You see several abandoned
we'll keep
projects.
Seeing abandoned projects
most of those projects will be claimed or taken by individuals.
So what's our gain?
That is the state we are.
All right. Let's look at the issue of people dying where they went for recruitment. You know, Africa. This is in Ghana. That's Africa, and we've had a similar case here in Nigeria. I think in a stadium in Abuja,
yes,
where they went for recruitment of
Interior Ministry.
Yes,
Ministry,
that and at the end of the day, nothing came out from that.
Nothing came out. Several persons.
Who said it's a scam? When there are pictures, evident pictures.
No, scam that there was an employment.
Okay. Now, are there no better ways? We are in, this is 21st century, for crying out loud. We have smartphones everywhere. There are technologies that are made to aid us, to help us do things in a better way and even faster, easier, and more secured. And people are still resorting to, endangering the lives of people. Look at 6 people dead, after stampede during military recruitment exercise.
Crowd control is one of the very serious issues that we have in this country. Not even in Nigeria, even African country. We are not organized, that is truth. And when you envisage that this number of people that are coming for this particular project or coming for this particular gathering, for this reason also, you're supposed to make provision, knowing that you can't control them. You find out that there are some, sometimes we refer to same climate, or we'll say a civilized, more civilized country, and because that's how they do their things. Even though there are sometimes you see pockets of issues like that, but the casualties are not always the way we see it in Africa. You can't go to abroad and then you find out that you have stampede. Maybe people, no, it rarely happen. But here, look at this country now. During festive periods, last year there was issues like that several places. One happened at Ibadan, another one happened in Anambra State, and some other states.
Now we have Zoom, we have Google whatever space. That people you see the person one-on-one and do interview.
Yes.
There you have the person can send in soft copy of their document and everything, and you can even easily screen the documents.
Definitely.
So what are we talking? What are we going backward to 50 years backward?
In this era, in this country, I saw an advert a few weeks ago, and an organization is requesting for application, and they asked for applicant to send their CV, 25 copies, not using online. That's you are using PMB. That is the mailbox, the private mailbox. You are sending 25 copies.
Okay.
Imagine what would you take? All your credentials stamped together, stapled together, 25 copies. People are sending. So some will require 30. When you start continuing to do things in a crude way in this century, what some people, even this stampede of sharing rights and that we experienced last on an organized environment, before people will start coming, you must have displayed.
Didn't you see what played out during COVID, where where food were hanged on people's doors?
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
I think it's high time we learn from all these because even our leaders go there every minute of. If they want now, as we are in the studio, they've flown to one country.
The stampede,
you know,
the stampede that you see there makes it seem as if they are doing something very, very wonderful.
They need they need the crowd.
Exactly,
to take pictures.
But if they need to go
recruitment.
Yeah, so it won't seem as if they are doing anything.
Exactly.
All right, let's run. Let's see the first paper for review, the Daily Sun newspaper, and see stories trending this morning. At NGE annual conference, Tinubu to Nigerians, we must join hands to defend democracy. We have writers there. Cautions media against undermining government. Editors seek government support. Media tax relief. Legal protection for journalists. Uzodinma sounds alarm on 51% media trust deficit. Urges editors to defend electoral integrity. Obiagwena unveils new platform to rival US-China. We see Kanu court asks appeal court to stop November 20 judgment at trial court. Expresses fear of unlawful conviction. Groups protest in Abuja, seeks global intervention to secure Kanu's release. Other stories making their headlines. PDP National Convention will hold as scheduled. That's coming from the National Working Committee and the Organizing Committee. Governor Eholo hails Edo's rebirth, reels out achievements across key sectors. Senate dismisses reports of alleged plot to sack Akpabio, approves bill to protect domestic workers from sexual abuse and paid labor orders. Now, in 2027 polls under threat over party infighting, Carlo wants. And quickly, let's see the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. Wike naval officer clash, ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. FCT minister Yerima face-off sparks concerns over civilian-military relations. With other stories, National Assembly approves Tinubu's 1.15 trillion naira domestic loan. Again, Reps probe 20 trillion naira abandoned federal properties. Okay, it's in the papers. My critics now praise me, says Obasanjo. Bamidele Carlo differ on alleged plots to impeach Akpabio. Be fair, truthful in government criticism, Tinubu tells editors. OPEC report shows Nigeria underproducing crude again. Mohbad's family demands fresh probe, bars wife from using surname. PDP insists on Ibadan convention amid court orders. A lot of stories this morning making the headlines in both the Daily Sun and the Punch newspapers. Let's take the story of the Guild of Editors are doing their conference in Abuja. And we can see a lot of issues raised here, you know, even when Tinubu is telling them to be fair, to be truthful in criticizing government. And other people are equally speaking on the Daily Sun. They're cautioning media against undermining government and all whatnot. So what's your take on that?
Well, and my own is that there should also be freedom of free speech.
You know. I've not even heard of welfare for media workers.
Well,
special media.
maybe you people are not really clamoring enough. That's because when
clamoring enough. When they came for the conference, that's the conference you're seeing in the front of that paper. You know, in attendance in that conference, does it mean they don't see the challenges that media people face? Well, or they don't know about it?
No, they do. They do.
Talk about it in that conference.
He who wears the shoe knows where he paints, and definitely it's for it's for them to speak out and say this is. And most often it doesn't just end in speaking out. It ends with most of action.
Okay.
You know, because just like other bodies, they don't really just say and then speak up and expect the government to do whatever you say. No, most often you back it up with action if it is necessary. You know, but for me, I believe that the press, that there's no much press freedom in Nigeria. Most often, journalists are being chased here and there. You say some things and then you are being I mean, asked to withdraw
You
statements
know,
and all
my
that.
mind is just going in this era of social media and things that could be done, you know, to end misinformation, disinformation, and whatever that you see flying around most of the time. And I believe that it's the editors, you know, professional editors that can, you know, help to stop these things. So does it mean government cannot look into their issues to really help them? Because when workers are motivated, like we said here, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, when workers are motivated, you see them do the things they're supposed to do and do it professionally.
Of course, and it's not only that, because let me tell you, when you don't give them, when you don't when your remuneration is not good enough, anybody can buy people easily.
By you.
Of course. When you're not being paid well, just like politicians now, they move around with money and all that. And then most of the media houses and all that, you find out that they infiltrate those media houses and then they propagate their own narratives. And then nobody cares. And they even, sometimes it's even difficult to, in fact, politicians, they have most media houses in their pocket. So whatever they propagate, before you know it, it has spread. And you can't even stop it. So you find out that media is one of the tools that, just like most of our presidents, most of them, they have media houses. That is the truth. So how can you balance it? They have media houses, they're into what this, they're into that, radio, TV, and all that. And whatever they say, before the morning, it's everywhere. So, but when we have, that's why I'm advocating for that press freedom. When
Okay.
and press freedom starts from, because you're not free when you are being given, when you're being paid by your someone that, because he that pays
Who
the
pays
piper
Papa dictates the
tunes,
tune.
of course. So you're not free when there's something you cannot say. There are things you cannot say because there are the people paying you. But if there is that total freedom, press freedom, you can say what you.
You know, our president has a television
Yes,
station.
good. Most
Most of them,
they
Ike
do.
Mother has one.
Yes, they
So
do.
many of them,
They do.
even the senators.
Yes. So they do. So most often it's very difficult, as in this Nigeria, it's very difficult to push up your own narrative to counter whatever they have
said.
because they already have, and before you know it, their age will run to several stations and be saying one thing or the other, which is not true, as the case may be. So
Okay.
that is it.
All right, let's continue the review with the next paper up for review. That's the Vanguard newspaper. And then we have, beginning from the mast, inadequate gas throws geometric power into first blackout in 60 days. That you'll find on page 19. And then still continue there at the mast. Wike, no officer or soldier on lawful duty will be punished. Defense Minister. Presidency clarifies Trump's threat not behind NGX sell-off. And then we have PDP, court extends order permitting national convention till Friday. And then the banner headline, Tinubu backs NGE's proposal for media tax relief, VAT exemption, with riders there capturing, says irresponsible reporting undermines democratic stability. Asks editors to criticize but not damage Nigeria. There won't be electoral integrity without democracy, coming from Uzodinma, as NGE seeks tax relief, low interest loans to rescue distressed media sector. Also, we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs. Super Eagles under pressure on the third. Anniversary, Okpebolo hails Edo rebirth, reels out achievement. Right of way crisis, telcos operating costs soar to 5.8 trillion naira. And that's coming from the NCC. UN names Nigeria, Mali among 16 hunger crises in hotspots. And then we have Obiebena announces Leki platform to challenge global content dominance. That's what we have for you on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Quickly, let's see what the Daily Independent has for us this morning. Despite court order, PDP vows to go ahead with national convention, and that's the banner headline. Federal government not ready to meet our demands. ASU lament. Journalists indispensable in electoral integrity. That's coming from the president. Senate OK's 1.15 trillion naira loan to fund 2025 budget deficit, with riders there coming as moves to amend NPHCDA Act, dismisses reports of alleged plots to remove Akpabio. Nigeria to raise 150 billion naira for vaccine procurement. And then with the rider there saying, Party Edu Bagudu outlined fiscal health sector transformation agenda. Obi demands comprehensive overhaul of health sector. Reps probe 12 trillion naira funding of DFIs. And then we have Makinde making Ibadan livable, Obasanjo. Tinubu has spent 1.15 trillion importing ammunition from US. That's coming from the IMP. I'll keep pleading with my deputy. Won't force him to join APC. That's coming from Governor Diri. That's all we have for you on the front pages of the Daily Independent newspaper. Quickly, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what these papers are. Let's tie some stories together. The 1.15 trillion okayed by the Senate to support the budget, and then this other story telling us that there's no plot to remove Akpabio. You know, in Nigeria, when you hear stories like that, when they tell you there is no plot to, know that the plot has already begun. You understand? We're just waiting for the execution of it. What do you think about these two stories? You know, the president's borrowing again. 2 months ago, they gave us every assurance that they've reached the ceiling of hitting the target, that Nigeria is now on cruise control, of meeting its desired $1 trillion economy. And now we are still going about borrowing to even support a budget. And now we are hearing about Akpabio. Is Akpabio uneasy anymore? Or is he not playing to the tunes of the ruling party? What's your take on that, Okafor?
Well, I don't know. The borrowing issue has become something else.
Borrowing.
It has gone astronomically high. The last time currently they have exceeded their borrowing
Capacity.
Threshold that the country is supposed to borrow. This is the limit. In fact, they've exceeded it, with over 56%. This is the limit that a country is supposed to not to borrow. We have gone further than that. We have borrowed. And one thing about when you are borrowing, you are not seeing the money. You are not seeing the use of the borrowing.
And then citizens are being taxed.
And we are being taxed. I mean, the tax bill is coming up.
Let them even show us what they are doing with the borrowed funds. Have you seen before?
I've not seen. And remember.
Are we not supposed to?
Is it the Senate that we should be holding responsible for all this borrowing, or is it the president? I just don't understand this.
Both of them work hand in hand, because let me remind you, during the time of the 8th Senate or whatever, when the Saraki was Bukola Saraki was the Senate president. It's not everything that the tenders there that he approves. There are some borrowing that they bring up. He say, no, this is too much. You can't approve this. But do you know that sometimes these borrowings will be communicated, once immediately is communicated to Senate, approved. And the funny aspect of it is, because when he came on board, he said that we are losing a lot of money because of a subsidy we are paying. That subsidy from now, subsidy is stopped henceforth. And then we see a lot of money. If you sit down and check the allocation that we are having for the states and the federal government from that 2023 May that he entered, you find out that it has increased.
By some in cases, 150% even.
Most states now, they get over ×4.
There's a question I want to ask.
Okay, we have more money. Then why are we borrowing?
There's a question I want to ask. Are citizens not qualified to know what the government is doing? Even if all of us will not go to the Senate to know what they are doing, at least don't we have representatives?
In this part of the world, they assume.
Is this how leadership is done?
They assume that we are not that they are not accountable to us. That is the truth.
Hey.
Have you seen some of them when they ask them questions or during live interview? Do you know how they ask? Say, who are you to ask me? One other one was on television the other day. Somebody was asking him. That was the Minister of Work. Rufai was asking him on Arise TV. Say, what is the cost per kilometer of the road of this coastal highway? He said he was just dilly-dallying with the question. He felt that he wasn't. I mean, he's not supposed to know.
It's not answerable to
It's not answerable to anybody. It's not how it's supposed to be. This is not your money. You're a public office holder. It is people's money.
And you're supposed to be servants to Nigerians.
Of course. If you, in UK, for example, you see how they are being scrutinized. Every penny. It's not your money. These are taxpayers' money. It is not for you. But here, they will say, who are you? How dare you ask me? And the borrowing keep continuing. Okay, now there is it 1.something trillion or whatever. Yeah. So you see, it doesn't have an end. And we have exceeded that limit, and we continue to borrow. And the Senate, they are approving. I don't know. I don't believe that there is any whatever with the Senate, because the two of them, both the executive and the legislature, I mean, they've not really been bad friends.
They are not checkmating.
Yes,
nobody
at
checkmating.
Yes, no. And when you see such a union, it hardly breaks.
And they keep borrowing, and they ASUA is still lamenting that they don't want to meet their demands. So
that was why the last time that they had a few days strike and they called it off, I was talking that I said, I hope that ASU, they actually, made sure that whatever they're asking for, at least they fulfilled a higher percentage of it before they were calling off that strike. I made that kind of, I said, I hope, because it's not just a promise made. You can't just tell them to go and okay, we'll do something. Make sure that you get some percentage of that promise fulfilled before you go back. Because all these ring strike, after some time now, you go back to strike again, and then you are still demanding for a particular thing. After 2 days, they will tell you go back, we'll do something, and then you go back again, and nothing happens.
All right, let's quickly run. This day newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of this day. IHS Holding Limited Chairman Sam Darwish credits Nigeria for strong three-quarter earnings. PDP, NCOC, our national convention will go on as scheduled on Saturday. Now on this day, Arise Group to launch how do I call this?
Leke
in January to shape future of social media, checkmating U.S., China's dominance in Africa and around the world. Tinubu to editors, criticize government policies but don't compromise national unity. And I hope that when they constructively criticize, that government will listen and do the needful. All right, quickly, we have readers there. Identifies irresponsible reporting, misinformation as antidote to democratic stability. Uzodimma Idris tasks editors to safeguard elections, rebuild public trust ahead of 2027 polls. Warn media against narratives that promote distrust and polarization. Now, Nigeria must protect current economic stability, says Obiebwana. NGE seeks tax reliefs, low interest tours to rescue distressed media sector. And the picture is the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference. That's a very big conference there. Now, moving on, we look at the Guardian newspaper to see stories coming from there. NGE insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. Kano praise appeal court to stop terrorism charge ruling. Minister San differ on Wike's confrontation with military. FG outlaws mother tongue policy, reinstates English as language of instruction. We have House probes 12 trillion naira usage by DFIs, 20 trillion abandoned projects. Nigeria records 566,300 leaked accounts amid 90.6 million global breaches. Nigerian president since 1999 breached constitution, REC alleges. Okay, presidency denies Trump effect on NGX sell-offs as Khan seeks end to genocide. Obiebwana challenges global content dominance via Lekele. All right, these are much stories we are trending this morning on The Guardian and This Day newspaper. Now, which one are you looking at? Which of the stories caught your interest there?
I think you've talked about, there's one story on Daily Sun, I think.
No, it's not Daily Sun, the Guardian.
Okay, the Guardian.
Yes.
Okay.
Nigeria presidents since 1999 breached constitution. That's an allegation coming from REC. So what's your take on that? Since 1999, they've been breaching our constitution. Could that be true?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know the the area that they are bringing up because I've not gotten the total coverage of this story. So
that means they should do more investigation.
Definitely, because I don't really understand the area. Definitely, you know.
Okay, let's see other papers quickly.
Yeah, Daily Trust is next for review this morning, and then the banner headline is screaming, despite Tinubu's pledge, federal government takes fresh 1.15 trillion naira loan. I lost 120 million goods cash to market fire. That's a trader saying. IHS Holdings Limited Chairman Sam Dawash credits Nigeria for strong third quarter 2025 earnings. Government drops mother tongue policy. World Cup Eagles battle Gabon in crucial playoff today. Criticize us fairly, Tinubu tells media. Let's go to the next paper, and that's the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu approves construction of Itawure Arumomoko Ado-Ekiti Arumomoko Ijeru Ifaki roads. Okpebolo hails Edo Rebet, reels out transformational achievements across key sectors. I hope that includes the road in Edo State, because that area is nothing to write home about. Nigeria stock rebound as blue chip rally lifts market by 2.59 trillion naira. Damagong-led National Working Committee affirms Saturday's convention, blames APC for PDP crisis. Alleges plot for one-party state convention will go as scheduled on Saturday. Committee. Then we have court extends interim order. Editors conference, media seek tax reliefs, low interest loans. Tinubu pleads for journalism practiced with sense of national duty. Makinde making Ibadan livable, Obasanjo says, at inauguration of mega bus terminal. Says, governor says, secular road will become Oyo's state economic backbone. Senators clash over delineation of wards in Warri by INEC rather. I am tired of moving motions without results. Benue lawmaker laments rising header, clashing, I think, or killing rather. And last paper, but not the least.
No, let's talk before we do the last paper. We still have time. Okay. Let's comment before the last paper. Yeah. Government dropping mother tongue policy. What do you have to say about it? That English should be the language of instruction in Nigeria. It has been like that?
No, it has not really been like that. It has been like that on paper anyway. But there are some states that still speak their native languages. And they even use, last time I heard of some northern states, in fact, northern state adopting Hausa language as their medium of instruction in their state. You know, and this calls to, for questions, because how can Nigeria is not a...
so if you are a core member,
that is true, and people were not asking, okay, how can they...
to school.
Yes, and people were not asking, are they going to use the Hausa language to write standard exams and WAEC and NECO and all that? Because there is no provision for that in WAEC. Okay. Can you write with Hausa language? And why adopting Hausa language? Even if you can use it in your plenary and your House of Assembly, maybe in state, but that shouldn't make it as a general language. But in Nigeria, anything goes. Sometimes, during Ramadan, some states declare the 40 days public holiday. Schools were shut down. And I think that was because of that incident that they now come up again and said, okay, English is now the acceptable language. But the funny thing in all these things is that some states, most of the states, even their schools, they can't even speak English.
They have languages in school curriculums now, like people read Igbo language in schools.
Yes.
Some people read Hausa,
but that doesn't.
French and what not.
Of course.
That should be.
That shouldn't be the mother tongue, and that shouldn't be the lingua franca. That's the main language of instruction. Okay. The main language of instruction should be English. You can speak everybody can understand. If I'm in northern state, I don't understand Hausa, so there's no way I can communicate effectively. Or maybe a core member from South is posted to state in the north. How can he or she be able to communicate with students if they're speaking outside language? So English language should be acceptable language of instruction in schools in Nigeria. It's not having outside language in some state and then other states will be speaking Yoruba and all that. Introduce your own language, fine, but English will still be the basic.
All right, now a lawmaker is saying that I am tired of moving motions without results. I don't know what I saw that story. I am tired of moving motions without results. Benue lawmaker laments rising headers. Riding headers killings.
Of course, and in Benue State, it has always been like that. And just like some people will come up and say that no killing anywhere, and there is. In Benue State has been like that, and people are still, even Plateau State, they frequently witness killings. And the man is saying, after raising several bills and all that, it amounts to nothing. So I'm tired of being that. I don't blame him, because those things are not put into action. All
right, quickly, for want of time, let's take the last paper.
And the last paper is the blueprint, and then we have ANEC 2025 Tinubu OK's tax relief deductions, VAT exemptions for media, urges editors on responsible journalism and patriotism. President's respect for media. That's coming from Idris. Herbalist on trial for alleged defilement of 6-year-old girl. And then we have banks capital adequacy ratio dips to 12% in July. That's coming from CBN. We've already told you about the Super Eagles having their playoffs today.
All right, quickly, let's use that story on Herbalist to wrap up the show, because our time is, fast spent. I don't know whether his herbals will still work after the filing a 6-year. Let's use that to wrap up. I don't know, the Herbalist and the 6-year, the age gap and all whatnot. What did he actually see? This is a story that most times we see on the pages of paper.
The very sad trend this time around is the issue of raping minors, and it has. I mean, recently now I hear news about that almost every time. I don't know their intention. I don't know why they do that. I don't know what someone will be. I don't know. I keep being amazed at that, and there should be very strict. In fact, law, and I know there is. I know there is. But why would somebody be, messing up with our children in 6 years? Sometimes you hear less than that.
3 years.
3 years, sometimes 2. Yeah. It's terrible. I don't know why.
All right, we can actually go on and on, but this much time could allow us to take on the press review. Let's parents hold their children. I must say that I remember while growing up, some mothers will leave, those juicy works to do things that will help them to be closer to the home so that they can take care of their children. Please, we need to go back to the drawing board, parents, for the sake of these innocent souls that are being bastardized on a daily basis. And that's how we're wrapping up the press review for this morning. Thank you so much for coming, our brother, to do justice to the papers this morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for watching. My name is Nonya Nwokoye.
Anambra. Up next is the discussion segment on Good Morning Anambra. Don't go anywhere. The show continues after this.